Somebody said I can't dunk on anybody because I'm too short. So not cool. Perception of college students before and after. Oh, I guess one of the big things that I had to decide about was whether or not to shout out this event far in advance or not. So initially when I did these, like I do a lot of study generally for the conversations that I do have. And if I'm going to come in Thunderdome kids in like the debate arena, I wanted to be people that like, oh, Destiny's coming to debate this thing. I'm going to like look up all the research so that when I come, I can have a really productive conversation. I didn't want to just come and like face fuck a bunch of like college kids who like aren't ready to get like master debated or some like stupid, like dumb stuff like that. I wanted them to be like really prepared to have like a really good fleshed out, fruitful conversation. But I think it kind of backfired in that I just had a bunch of my fans show up, and it was like a bunch of people that already kind of agreed with me, so the conversations like weren't as productive. So I need to find a way to strike a balance between informing some kind of people ahead of time that I'll be there so that they can like send their champion debaters, but then also not like not doing it so much ahead of time that it's just a bunch of like my fans that show up. And yeah, that's probably not as positive a thing, I think, because having a bunch of people sit down that are already fans of me, we're going to be like in 99% agreement regardless. About anything else? Yeah, go. What else? What's the most challenging part of the Change Your Mind segment for me? No, honest to God, not much. I just have to show up and talk to people. Jeff is the one that like deals with all the heavy lifting and everything. Yeah, I don't think I mean, I guess depending on the topic, I guess maybe there could be topics that I need to prepare for if I do like a more in-depth topic in the future. But these were all ones that I was already kind of familiar with. But yeah, I mean, like most of the students are really friendly. All the staff and all of my help were really friendly. So everything went like really easily for me. There wasn't like it'd be pretty silly for me to say there was like any challenges associated for me. It was everything went really smoothly. More dunking? I know that's the whole point is to not do that. What my dream, what I really want is, it's kind of funny because people were making fun of like some of the America First guys, but I actually think that the two conversations I had with the AF guys were really good today because I think that those are traditionally conversations because of where the America First people are situated. They sit outside of kind of like the realm of acceptable political opinions, and I think that generally when people want to deal with that group of people, usually you just say, I don't talk to them, they're Nazis. I don't want to talk to them ever. And I think that the conversations we had today, even though there were obviously huge like foundational disagreements between the two of us, me and then I think there were two different guys that I had conversations with. I thought that the conversations were really good because you can show that at the very least, even if we disagree, that there is a conversation that can be had there. There is discourse, there is dialogue. Just because I had that conversation doesn't mean everybody magically turned into a Nazi. It didn't represent like an existential threat to the entire school. And it is possible to like engage people that you dramatically disagree with in opinions in productive conversations, I think. So even though I don't know if you guys showed up to troll or whatever, I did appreciate the AF guys showing up for the conversations because yeah, I think they were both good conversations. Yeah. Somebody said I can't dunk on anybody because I'm too short. So not cool, not nice. Question from over there. Do I prefer internet debates versus real life debates? I like real life everything because there's a different like energy in real life. It's I grew up in a really interesting time. It's hard to explain unless you're like within like 1 or 2 years of me. Like, so I'm 33. When I grew up, like the internet wasn't really a thing until like high school. As weird as that is to say, it was like AOL.com keyword search. And then, yeah, it was a way different kind of place. Like Gmail didn't exist. We were fighting for space on like Yahoo Mail. People were using like Netscape, and Real Media Player. And it was a totally different time. So I grew up enough in an environment where real life interactions were kind of like essential. And then when social media started, social media like only existed to help your real life interactions. Like Facebook, when Facebook first came out, I don't know if this is everybody's experience, but Facebook was so cool when it came out because it gave you a way to like see where the parties were and then to check in and like be at parties. Like, okay, everybody's going to John's house at 9 p.m. on Saturday and I can see who's going and that's awesome. That was like the whole point. So I like online debates. Obviously, it's my bread and butter, and it's the best things I can play Factorial while I do it. But I think in real life, I think there's a different type of energy. There's a kind of mutual respect demanded. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to have a conversation in real life where the other person goes full like ape mode and starts screaming and screeching like they do online. I don't think people generally bring that same type of energy in real life because you see the other human being and it humanizes them to some extent. I didn't see Haas at TwitchCon, but who knows? Maybe I mean, when Haas met me, Haas was very, very, very nice. He was very, but Chud Logic. I mean, he's British. You know, British people bring out the worst sometimes in each other. Yeah, I don't know. I do appreciate the energy in real life events. I like online events because they're super like convenient. Obviously, you can just call someone to talk. But I really like real life formats, and I think it's a good skill to have, like public speaking and being able to speak to people in public. I just said the same thing twice. But yeah, that's a really good skill to have. Yeah. Can people hear these guys? If they're not, okay, good. Yeah, so that guy just was freaking out. I don't know what. Can we? Do we have security here? Can I ban people here? He said that this guy over here, the jokester over here, said that if I'm having real life debates, it's going to look bad if I wave my head around, throw my hands in the air, and threaten to ban chat if they troll me. So, good one. Wait, what do you mean by that? Do you want them to like come up, pick up the mic, and yeah? Do we have? Is it wireless? Well, wouldn't that have been? I'm just kidding. Oh, don't worry. We've got the 45-foot XLR cable over here. Okay. I can just repeat back questions. It's okay. Sorry, I haven't been doing that. I guess I will. Okay. Who? Boom. Okay. Who else? Question. Yeah, so the question is whether or not I could do more topics in the future to give more people a chance to engage. I don't think I want to have like a whole like host of topics that people can do, because one, for the video, it would be nice to focus it on like a particular topic. It's better for a video if it's just not a ton of stuff. And then two, it gives me an ability to kind of like feel out like a certain vibe on a conversation topic. Like, it's interesting if I can do a certain topic and get like 10 different people's opinions on that same topic. It helps me build like almost like a subjective consensus in my head about how people feel about particular things, which is nice. And then three, if I do more in-depth topics in the future, I'm only human. I can only prepare for so many topics. If I've got like 10 different topics and they all require like pretty extensive reading, then I don't think it's realistic for me to be like, especially if I'm giving people things heads up in advance. If like the Aggie like Republicans send some guy to debate me on like very niche like foreign policy issues in like Azerbaijan or something, and I don't even know what's going on there right now. Like it's going to be like too overwhelming for me to deal with, I think. I think I'd rather stick to like one or two topics that are very like current day, like hot button topics, depending on what's going on. So like Ukraine is a big one right now. Inflation is a big one right now. Biden's presidency is kind of a big one right now. But yeah, more like pointed specific topics in the future. It's okay. I don't need like, I think my goal should probably be like 6 or 7 like really good conversations rather than trying to get through like 20 people that all want to like talk about different things. Yeah. Just don't prepare, be like Vosh. You know, I've seen how that's working for Vosh. Not very well, so no, but tempting. Do I find it more or less difficult to guide conversations in person versus online? I think in person is actually more difficult because this is it's just my current read and I could be wrong, but I think that in person it's more difficult because I think the other person gets a little bit more nervous, and I think it's harder for them sometimes to keep track of what I'm saying. Like I notice when I'm talking to people in person, especially when they're like a little bit more nervous, they kind of ramble and they'll go over like 4 or 5 different points, and it's hard to keep the conversation on track. But it's also like I don't want to cut somebody off in person. I want to like interrupt. It feels more rude to do in person. But yeah, it's also harder because I can't like take notes. Like normally on my computer, I can like if somebody wants to ramble for a minute or two, I can like write down point after point after point, and then when they're done, I can go ahead and give like my rebuttal to each one. So guiding in-person topics are definitely a bit different. Probably more challenging in person, but I'd say more rewarding if you do a good job. Yeah. Bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.